Hello, everybody. I am Sun Psychic Jean, and please welcome back to my very special series answering your spiritual questions using my pendulum. I just want to thank everybody who's been participating and sending in their questions. If you would like your question answered, we're doing spiritual questions and the bigger questions. You can leave your question below. If you would like me to use your name in the question, please do add your name in where you type the question so that I know that you're giving me permission to use your name. And welcome back to everybody who has been in the series before. And if you haven't seen any of this series before, I invite you to go back and listen to the first set of series of the answering your spiritual questions with the pendulum. It's been quite enlightening. So thank you all very much. And this is my new pendulum, and it is very heavy. It is solid brass, and it is quite lively. So I've been really enjoying it, and I went to my psychic fair this past weekend and specifically looked for a pendulum that was easy to see in on the in the picture here. So the other one's a little smaller and was a little harder to see, if you can see the difference. Plus this one's much more reflective. You'll be able to see that. Okay. So good. We have a whole new pendulum to work with. And I've been working with this for the past week. And I did ask it when I bought it, are you wanting to come home with me and work with me on my spiritual questions? And it was absolutely, and it's saying yes right now. It is absolutely very ready and willing and able to assist us. So thank you all very much. And without further ado, this is our next question here. And this is from our community member, Craig Dixon. And see how he put his name in with the question so that I know it was okay to mention him. He says, is it important to clear a new or used pendulum when we first start using it? I would say absolutely. Absolutely. Do what you can to clear the crystal. You can set it in a little pile of salt overnight. You can smudge it. You can set it out in the moon, under the moonlight. Anything that you would normally do. And also, just depending on what type of material that your pendulum's made out of, I would also calibrate it, which is what I would do. Like I would say, is my first name Jean? And that is my yes. Is my first name Jean? And there it is. That's my yes. And am I 7 feet tall? And that's my no. And is now a good time to ask questions? And that's my yes. You see how it changed midstream? And this is what you want to do. You want to ask questions, and then you would say, so I would say, is my first name Jean? Okay. So then you would say, is my first name Craig? And you would ask it an opposite question. So I think this came up the last show. There was a question, I don't know. You would just ask the opposite way. So is it in our best interest to eat a balanced diet? And that would be yes. And then you would say, is it okay for us to eat? Is it in our best interest not to eat a balanced diet? No. So you want to ask it sort of like from both directions or all different directions. And you want to be specific. When you're working with your pendulum, you want to be specific. The reason why you want to be specific is that when we say, is it good for all people? So it's too grand of a question that you couldn't possibly have all people fall under that same umbrella. So you would say most of us, 85% of us, or Is it important for Americans? Is it important for Americans under the age of 35? Or, you would just need to be a little more specific rather than so wide open. So Craig said, is it important to, I'm going to ask the pendulum this. Okay. And the pendulum is me working with my spirit guides, but my spirit guides are working through my pendulum. And the reason why it is effective is because it allows my ego or my analytical mind or my opinion to step aside. Because all I am doing is asking my spirit guides, the pendulum, yes or no. And I'm not allowing my analytical mind to come in, because this is all done through an activity and my spirit guide. So, and I did have somebody else ask, but I'll see if that's the next question. So, is it important for us to clear a new pendulum when we start using it? Yes. Is it more than 50% important? Is it important more than 50%? Look, it's getting, yep, insistent. Is it 75% important? Yes. Is it 100% important? And it's going to a no. So it's not imperative, but it is advised. I hope that makes sense. So uh, there's not 100% one way or another. There's a lot of gray area in a lot of questions, and this is one way we can allow for that and include that. So it's not so one-sided. If you want, I'll tell you a little story. When I first started using my pendulum, I asked a coworker was pregnant, and she said, can you find out if I'm going to be having a boy? So I said, is my coworker, is Miss Coworker going to have a boy? And it said yes. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it said yes, you're going to have a boy. Oh my gosh. And I know that's 50-50 chance. And then she came back from the doctor a few weeks later and said, I just came back from the doctor and they said it was a girl. How did you get a boy? I'm like, I don't know. So then later, like a year and a half later, she does get pregnant again and she does have a boy. And I just said, will this coworker have a boy? And, we were all just sitting there. We all just thought we meant it. But I didn't say, is this baby in her belly that she's going to be, giving birth to in 3 months? Will this baby be the gender of a boy? You really have to be specific. And it taught me something, because it, even though we take things for granted or we know what it is that we want to ask, it's important to try and ask the question as specifically as possible. Also, because I work with my pendulum so often and I work with my spirit guides often, um, they sometimes know the question that I'm thinking about asking when I'm trying to phrase it correctly, and they'll start answering the question right away. So that also does happen. So let's see. Is it important to clear a used pendulum? Is it important to clear a used pendulum before using it? And that's yes. But again, is it 100% important to clear a used pendulum? No. So it's highly advisable. I would say like 90% of the, I mean, if you find one and you ask it, it's still going to work, but it's really advisable if you do clear it. So I hope that makes sense. And thank you, Craig Dixon, for your question. And please stay tuned for the next time, for the next installment of answering your spiritual questions using my pendulum. If you would like your question considered, please do enter your question below. And if you'd like your name used, add it to the question itself. In the box where you are typing your question, you can add your name. Thank you very much for watching, and everybody have a wonderful day. Bye-bye. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Your support is greatly appreciated. If you enjoy this content, hit like, share, and subscribe. Remember to click the bell to be notified of future videos. Thanks again. Bye.